Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's episode 15, and today just need to take a quick pause because, as you may have noticed over the last 2 or 3 videos, I've been very ill. And, well, am I going to continue the series? Yes, I'll show you. I'll show you how as well. But it did mean that my approach in the last few videos wasn't as professional as possible, and we didn't quite do the right things that we should have done. So I had to go through the whole project and clean it up from not a mess, but a little bit of an iffy few days, shall we say. Yes, we shall say. I was cursed by my illness or condition, as the medical people like to call it. Window 3D, I was lucky. I think we got away with that one. When it came to the model warehouse, no, we didn't. So what I've done is I went back through it all, and we can take that line out now. We don't need to include Window 3D. Window 3D creates this, so we can take that out. We know what's happening there, because it's coming in here, and it's doing it all correctly, which is good. We got away with that one. Next file, not so good. What I've done is I've added QDebug to each of the CPP files, and in each one, where we've constructed something, I've put what it is and created, and where I've destructed something, I've put what it is and what's been deleted. This is to cover something major. I was getting a strange error on the application output of about -10, God knows what, which was in decimal, not hex. I should have converted it to hex and found out what it was, but I didn't. What I did instead was do a full QDebug, which left me with the options of what to do with initialize warehouse. So I took everything out that I knew was not quite right, and I put in the things that I knew were right, which is that is correct. Not bad so far. We're doing good. Left that alone, left that alone, left that alone. Okay, that's model warehouse sorted out. We got rid of all of the errors and all the stupidity I was doing in here. Right, because I don't think any of those are ideas. As I said in the last video, these are just ideas. I shouldn't have been following them. I should have actually been writing the correct code, and I didn't. I just tried to make these work. Daft idea. So that's model warehouse done. Model warehouse.h done. Main's okay, obviously. Import obj.h. Yep, remove the const, will you? I was off my rocker, don't know what the heck I was doing, so I put that as const. That's a bit daft of me, because store obj we need, if we put const at the front of it, it means that we can't use anything in store obj that doesn't have a const, isn't a const function. In other words, doesn't alter whatever's in store obj. But that's the whole point of passing this in. We want to alter stuff. A bit of a dar moment there on the brain. So remove the const, remove the const. Fine. Good and dandy. Good and dandy. Go back onto the import part and QDebug. QDebug. Destroyed, created, destroyed. I've done that with all of them. Every single CPP file. Remove the const out of here. And I hadn't even thought about this line 20. Store obj initialize. No, why would we want to initialize it from here? Model warehouse is in control, not this file. This file shouldn't be initializing any other files. If we want any other files initializing, model warehouse should do it. So what we haven't got in here is this line. So better cut that out. because it's not right. And we can pop it in with our ideas here. We want to use it there. So we would have to paste it here because we want to use it here. So yeah, bit of a oops going on somewhere in my mind there. Let's do that. Close that down now. We just added an idea, that's all. Back to the CPP file. Everything else so far is okay. Absolutely okay. I think we're now at a stage where I can show you what happens when we run it. And actually what I'll do is I'll just do that first. Make sure we're compiling okay. Yeah, we're compiling okay. Application output, run it. Starts up nicely, absolutely nicely. We get our screens. Okay. And it tells us now that Window 3D is created. That resize gets triggered automatically on its creation. I've been through all of that. We then go on to create import OBJ, store OBJ. We create the model, create shader, and model warehouse comes up last. That's because that creates all of this lot. So it can't be created until all of that has gone through. So it comes up as last. So when we now close the window, it comes out with a code 0 correctly, but you'll notice how it closes down. It skips model warehouse because that actually gets created up here in reality, but not in C++. It's a weird idea. I'll show you why in a second. So create shader gets destroyed, correct. Create model gets destroyed, correct. Gets destroyed in the reverse order, store object, import object. Then we get the model warehouse, which should be up here and is in our mind, but isn't in reality. And then Window 3D last, and then it returns. Fantastic. Everything's in that is the correct order. The reason why model warehouse comes here as created is probably because of the way we set it up. So if we go back and have a look, we've set it up here so that all of these are created and then it gets to say it's created. That creation, if we put it just after that in here at line 8 or 9, then it would read in the right order. It would have to go before import object. It'd have to be going here somewhere 8 or 9. Nah, well, I'm happy because I know the reason for it. So that QDebug message, you have to remember, is going to come out last because of all of this. That's all, and it comes after that happens. So it shows you how this happens, which is a bit of a learning lesson. That's fine. So I've got all this code and everything, and it's all nice and hunky-dory. And I then sat down and thought about what we got. Now, will it work in here? No, I don't have the resources. Here's our resources. Okay, let's get the resources up. There's another problem. I'll show it you in a minute. It's quite nice. Let's have a look at workspace. Yeah, I had to bring Amber SL over for me to check something. I'll show you what I did with that in a minute. What are we using? The warehouse. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, we transferred it over to the build, didn't we? No, which one is it? It's this one, is it? Yeah, resources, OBJ, and it's this one here. So, pull it over. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2. Each face has 4 vertices. That's a quad. And all the time that we've been doing this, I've been assuming that we can do quads. So, something in the back of my mind was triggering, no, there's something wrong with this. And I went away and wrote a different program, which is my reaction to this. That's how I experiment. I experiment with the C and C++. So I didn't have anything on this machine other than Qt Creator. So the first thing I wanted to do was use a different IDE to test my theories out. So I went out and downloaded Visual Studio 2019, not 2017, 2019, and I made a development program. So Solution Explorer, here's my development program. It's not very big. That's the shaders and the object. So there's the resources. Display and maths I brought over from Amber SL because I didn't have them and I wasn't going to write them again. Especially when you find out how big display is. It's quite a big complicated piece of GLFW, is it? Glue coming in here to get the OpenGL working. Yeah, so there's glue in here, there's GLFW and all those pretty things. So I had to put the dependencies there for them and everything. That's fine. But what I did instead of just copying what I've done for you on these episodes, I just decided to write it as one big thing. So we should only have a dev1.cpp, and this has got all of the code in it. Okay, a total of 333 lines. Yes, I counted them. And of course I've added in display and math, so those are extra lines as well from Amber SL. I wrote courtesy and shout out to the Cherno project, who is also, if you want to look him up on YouTube, he's a C++ programmer that I enjoy watching because he comes up with these kind of ideas. And this is an error checker, and I needed it, trust me. So clear error and log call, I had to do it to find the error that I'd made. Okay, so I had to write a read file, a reader text file. This was to help with file paths and loading text files, because we're going to need them. I had to be able to split a line, so I had to develop a split quickly, and I did a quick dump onto cout just for looking at the split to make sure it worked properly. I had to do the store face module, which I actually wrote incorrectly in the first rendition of this. It had an extra line here with vertex 4s, and I also had format as quads. Please reformat to triangles. Yeah. If its split size was equal to 5. Yeah. Because when you come down, oh yeah, store obj data is just looking at what we've got and then responding to it. So those are all the different thingies. Check compiler errors, that's for your shader. You load your shader, you create your shader, and that's it. Those are the only functions I made. And they're not even in classes. They're just chucked out there, and I guarded them with model, I think. Yeah, I guarded them in namespace model. There you go. So in the namespace model, you got all your functions. Now, the main program, all I did was write in a big long line everything that we are, all of the bits and pieces that I've showed you so far in the episodes of Model 3D. So I did part 1, read the data in from the 2 files. So the 0 to 2, count, read in the text files. Simple files count. Then I took files count using a global variable text file. There we go, G text file, global variable, not protected by anything, it's out in the open, anybody can use it. I don't normally use globals, but I did on this occasion, all over the place. Even in the OBJ structure, as you know from our programming, I just copied this directly over and just use globals. So vectors all over the place. Just put a vector underneath each one I wanted to use. And to be quite honest with you, that one is not allowed. That second face element one there, can't use it. Or is it the first one? Is it the second one? I don't know, can't remember. No, it's that one that's wrong. That one's right, because it uses all four. Yeah, for our, because it's using four floats for each. I'm not sure about that though. Anyway, it gives us the right one. That's the basics of the point. I haven't looked into that too far to find out if I wanted to cut half of the face off. So part one, read the data in. So read it in, was stored the OBJ data using that one up there. Part two, convert data to OpenGL format, which is a bit we haven't done fully. That's how this does it. I did this wrong initially. We need 3 positions to make a triangle. So if it's less than 2, parser error, not enough positions recorded. There you go. It was that again was because I did create an error at one point by trying to read a blank file. Because I'm an idiot. I'll show you in a second that one. Part 3, delete use model globals. So all of the globals, all those vertexes that I have used so far, I just deleted all the contents and deleted them. Just clean up memory. Part 4, create an OpenGL window. Just used Amber SL's window thingy. Set the background colour to our colour. Part 5, create shaders on the card. So I did that. Basic, yeah, shader, create shader, load shader, create shader, load shader, yeah, that's normal. Counts, yeah, GL bind attribute locations, that's correct. Link and validate, and then use. Part 6, transfer data to the graphics card using, God, it's all the way back up here now, and this is why I don't like doing it this way. Using index array, position array, and colors arrays, because those are the only ones that were used in our example shaders. I then passed everything to the graphics card. Here we go. That's this part 6. So that's just literally generate, bind, and put the data through, generate, bind, put the data through, generate, bind, and put the data through. No problems there. I did have a bit of awkwardness with this. I forgot to add the 0 bit on the end. But anyway, I got there in the end. Part 7, rendering the object, blah, blah, blah. That just gives me a rotation, so I can give it a bit of motion. But it's really just make a model matrix, make a view matrix, make a projection matrix, and pass them over. Find the location of the variable within your shader, and then just pass them into your shader here when you want to render. There we go, and that's a method for doing that. Here all I've done is mess about with rotations, so rotation values have been increased, and when you run the program, what happens? Probably put me a window all the way up here. Yes, it does. So yeah, there we go. There we go. So it tells me, because I wanted to make sure that I was actually in OpenGL, that I'm using OpenGL 3.3, which is what I asked for. And there's our lovely little thing here, which I can't grab the corner of, which you can resize. Looks a bit odd at that size. There we go. So there we have it. All works fantastically. And if I press press any key to close this window, bing, Everything comes out perfectly. So what did I change? Initially I wrote it for a quad, and that ended up me using the hash define error checker, the GL call, and this is what it told me. You see, I thought originally that I could do that. See? That comes up. Let's run it. There you go. Exception. So this is why GL call is an error checker, by the way. It will enforce and assert if there's a fault on the line or if something's wrong with that line. Because OpenGL won't tell you. If I don't use that, it'll just carry on and give me a blank screen. Because I've used that, and I had to type that in, by the way, that hash define at the top, if you remember. Oh dear. What can we do about this then? So what has it actually got here? Well, it's got a window here which I can't move, but it's also got OpenGL error 1280 GL draw elements, and that one. What does that mean? That error code 1280 in hexadecimal is 500, and error 500 for a GL call of any kind means invalid enum, GL enum. And the GL enums are the ones in capitals. So one of these two had to be wrong. I knew it wasn't this one because I could check that easily. So it had to be this one. And I looked it up. And it's right. That's an error. Damn. That's a bit unfortunate, isn't it? We can't have quads. We have to use triangles. So how did I manage then to use triangles? Well, what I did was this. Oh shit. Oh no, not that one. Let's go to the right thing. Here we go. So what I did here in here, resources, I went back into Blender and I loaded up the Blender file for our box and I saved it out again, but this time I ticked use triangles only. So it comes out with triangles. So as you can see now, the faces are 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, because there's two triangles per face. There you go. And that puts it into triangles. So I had to rewrite the whole thing to accept triangles, which is obviously what I've done, and also have this resaved out. So I'll show you how we did that. I'll have to show you how I did that, otherwise we're in trouble. We won't be able to finish the program. So we're over in a different place, aren't we? We're over on workspace for this one. So here in our build model 3D, our resources are wrong. Those two files are useless to us. So you can delete them. There you go, that's the answer. I'll keep that open at the bottom. Here. Oh, I just realised I haven't got Blender set up for this, have I? Actually, I'll take that out of the way a second and we'll set Blender up. My bad. Here we go. Blender's at full screen at the moment. Oh. Right. Yeah. No, don't do that. Can I have the bottom right hand corner a minute? Whoa, yeah, that's better. We'll just click you out of the way. Right, let's get Blender up here. Bit down, I think. There we go. Anything? Yeah. 1 second, just need to move something here. There we go. Let's move the screen over to there. And then all I have to do is move the screen down to here. Okay, that's better. There's Blender. So, File. Open. RGB Blender. Here we go. Make sure that Cube is the only thing that's highlighted. Not lamp, not camera, just Cube. Cube's the only thing we've got. Yeah, that would be fine now. It's all selected. And then we want to export. Wavefront. Go up, please. Come down to Workspace. Go to the Build Model 3D. Resources, OBJ. And we need to tick all the correct things now. So it's selection only. Because, like I said, you only want that box selected. Animation, no. Smooth groups, no. That's the one. Triangulate faces. Blah, blah, blah. Checks, it doesn't matter about those ones. That's fine. That's fine. Export OBJ. And as we can now see, it's been replaced. But this time, we've got that. So that is now the same as that one, which is the one from the other. There we go. Actually, shouldn't have done that. Never mind. Just want to check that this hasn't changed much. No, this hasn't changed much. Blue, green, red. Yeah, that's fine. Interesting. But anyway. We know that it works. We know that the code now is going to work. So you know now that the final program is going to work. Don't need that anymore. Some changes have not been saved. Okay, I don't care. Right, so everything is going to work, and the final product that we will see is going to be something like that. Okay, with an RGB. No, doesn't matter, I'll check that in my own time. Something else I wanted to look at. And that's it. That's all we needed to do, was get away from the idea of quads, get back to triangles, and stop messing about and trying to be clever, which I think I was trying to be clever. I think I was doing a bad one there. My illness made me not think straight, and honestly, I had a bad time with the last 3 videos. So that's why I've made this one. 1, to admit I'm not the best programmer in the world. 2, that I made an assumption that we could use quads, and we can't. If you look it up, you just can't, because we're using GLDraw elements. And yeah, I was going to make a right mess of it. I'm glad I double checked. I'm glad I had that nagging feeling in the back of my mind. As I got better, as I started to recover from being really bad, I realised that I might be making a big mistake and an idiot of myself, and I'm glad I checked. So this is a message out to you that I'm human. So in the next one we will be cracking on, and we will actually start the final programming in truth of getting this, but we're using Qt, which I haven't written. I've only written the C++ version. There we go. Take care and have fun.